Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm here. Hey everybody, Mr. Kevin here. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and glue up a section of the butcher block top for the countertop I'm making for the job in Trinidad. I've taken some little leftover poplar blocks that I have here. They're 1.5 inch square. Put them on the bottom. These are actually going to be my cauls. I took some scrap down here left over from this stuff and just flipped it up on end so they're the same height and everything. I've got the maple orientated the way I like it. The orientation of the maple is correctamundo. Now this is side grain. Okay, so there's the flat grain and there's the side grain. This butcher block's all side grain up. Wow. I've got all the ends that I've already cross cut on one side. And these ones down here with all the different wackiness on there, I'm going to cut them all off. So they're pretty much even, so I could just... It's my OCD. These only need to be 66 and this is 70 to here. Alright, now that we got them all cut to a relative size, now the boring part's going to be gluing them up. Before you glue them up, get your cauls where you want them, okay? So you want one in the center. So these boards are a 1/16 of an inch thicker than I need. The whole combination between this stack and the next stack that I'm going to glue together later are like almost an inch wider than I need. So I'm going to have to cut some of it off, which is fine because you always want to clean up the ends and you don't want to have clamp marks and stuff like that on there. We have glue. It's been glued up. I glued it up. What I'm going to do, we start in the middle. Usually start in the middle with everything. Start in the middle. All right. So before we even put a clamp on it this way to hold it together, we're going to actually tighten these cauls. And that's why we have this down here, this 1.5 inch thick material. That makes it easier to clamp up. I can't see it, but it feels like it's in the way. There we go. Yeah. Alright. You want to get it in there a little ways. You don't want it on the outside of the board like out here. When you're putting your cauls, you know what I mean? You don't want to clamp it up out there because, nah, it ain't no good. You want to get it in a little bit. Snuggeroony, it's flat. Now, I'm going to take one of these guys. Squeeze me very much. Take one of these puppies, these Bessies. I don't really like these clamps that much, but that's what I have right now. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure you get it kind of 90. And then you're going to snug these up a little bit until it all kind of goes together. Alright, see how it all just kind of popped together? Wow! And once you got it snug, right, loosen these back up. What the hell are you doing that for? That way it won't have any tension on it and you can close them right back up. Tighten that thing up and then put these back on. There, it's together and it's flat. Oh. These things you gotta pull them out and then push them down and they're all just... Alright, I'm gonna tighten this one up. You should hear it pop a little bit. Now we're gonna loosen this up just slightly. Just enough so it takes the tension off and it lets everything go back together. It's still flat. So we're gonna leave the cauls on until we get the whole thing clamped up. I guess I'll use these guys just to clamp up the rest of it. You got to be careful with iron pipe like this. If you're on top of maple and it is actually touching, it will leave a black mark. It'll leave an iron stain and it'll never come out. You can put a little piece of wood under there if you're worried about it, like a little piece of 1/4-inch shim or something. Always convenient and good idea to keep your assembly tools as close as possible. Just like all your table saw tools, there's a video over here about table saw tools. You want them close. You don't want to walk around the shop looking for stuff. All right, perfect. And you can see how much glue's coming out. All right, now we're going to take the cauls off in the same order that we put them on. And we're just taking the top off. The bottom we're just going to leave there, and we're going to let the whole thing sit like 20 minutes and let this glue like congeal. Get a little stiff. It makes it much easier to scrape off. So when this glue is wet like it is now, it's just running and you mush it all over the place. Another two-tip Tuesday, even though it's not Tuesday, is just let it dry for like 15 or 20 minutes until it gets a hard shell on it, and then go to scrape it off. It'll be easier to take off and won't get all over the place. All right, so we take all these off, leave the ones on the bottom, that'll be fine, you can bash them off later. And we're just gonna let it sit like this, lift everything up slightly, like that, so nothing is touching. Especially these ones. The pipe clamps, you do not want them touching. You'll have a black spot on it. Oh God, you'll never get off. There we go, all right, there it is. We're gonna leave it like this, I'm gonna let it sit, I'm gonna scrape all the glue off. And it's gonna stay in clamps for 24 hours. So this is how I go about gluing up a butcher block countertop for a kitchen. It's a U-shaped butcher block countertop. It's like 22 feet, linear feet around like a U-shaped. This will go through the planer after I scrape off the glue. I'll take it to 1.5 inches. I'll glue it back together, and I'll have a seam here that I'm gonna have to belt sand. And then I'll sand the whole top and go and install it. And I have a huge sink to cut out too, so it's gonna be a little bit interesting. So there you go. Okay, so we're back at it here in the shop, and we're gluing together a butcher block countertop. Ooh. So first I'm gonna lift these Johnsons up here. So here we go. Slowly but surely. I'm gonna put the glue on here. Oh my God, these things are long. Huh. I forgot to cut one of these down. Hold on. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you gotta cut these down so they're not so flexible. They work better that way. We've got all our pieces glued up, plain sanded, and re-glued back together. So what we're doing today is I just have to sand the seams on everything. I'm going to rip them to the final dimension of 25 inches. I'm going to put the templates on, like this little template here, on my pieces, just like this. So I've already cut it to the length it needs to be and sanded it to fit the little weird angle. All right, and the last thing I have to do is to rip it to that line right there. So this seam I'm going to belt sand real quick, make it flat, make it flatter. It's pretty flat already. And then I'm going to sand the whole thing with 150. I'm going to join the front edge, okay? And then I'm going to rip it to the 25 or whatever it needs to be so it matches this template. What I always do when I'm belt sanding anything wide like this, and there's just a seam, I take my pencil and I go across like this. I don't know if you can see that happening or not. All the way across. And when I belt sand it, I can see the lines coming off it. You can see the line. See that line right there? I don't know if it'll pick it up or not. The reason I put that line on there is so I can actually see what I'm doing when I'm belt sanding, so I don't have to like keep stopping and feeling it. I can just see when the pencil mark is gone, and that means that side's flat, and when the other side's still there, it means I have to sand the opposite side a little more to bring it to the same level. I'm going to start on one side and go back and forth like this, across this way, and then back and forth like this. Yeah, I'll speed this up. Here we go. me show you what we got so far. Okay, I don't know if you can see that. You can see some, like this side, whatever side has pencil on it is lower than the other side. So we're just gonna have to keep going back and forth until the pencil's gone, and it's just an eyeball thing and a feel, but you'll get it. Belt sanding, some people don't think it's necessary, but if you own a small shop and don't have room for a time saver and $20,000, the belt sander is very handy. Okay, here we go. All right, let's see how that worked. That feels like I got it. And the other thing you do, just to give it a hot look. Oh, yeah. Flat. All right, that's pretty good. It can be done. You can belt sand the seam flat, and it feels great and all that. So now I'm just going to sand it with 150 with the orbital sander. And then put it aside and do the same with the next 5 pieces. Okay. And there it is, sanded, flat. Hey, beauty. Let's see. Yep, run your hands over it. Can't feel a damn thing. No lumps, no bumps, no nothing. Take off the gloves. Yeah, because you'll feel a dent if you're with your hands. And being white, it's kind of hard to see things. Not me, the wood. You can't. It's hard to see if you got a ding in a white piece of wood. You can feel it with your hands, though. Yeah. All right, that feels great. Rip blade for this job because too many teeth with this big old hunk of maple and it causes too much friction. It'll start burning and doing all sorts of weird things. So we have our rip blade on there. It's only got like 24 teeth. All right, here we go. Join one edge. I'm going to join the outside edge first, and then I'm going to rip it at 25. Now it's time for the beast. The beast. 72.2 pounds. Ooh. Holy crap. So when you have a top that's 25 inches deep, 1.5 inches thick, and weighs 70 pounds, roughly, you want your sled to be as tight as possible. And this thing is about as tight as it can get. And that's why I've people have commented, well, you should loosen your sled up a little bit. Make sure it slides better. Nah. What I am going to do, though, is guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to wax the bottom of this sled. All right, so I'm going to wax this up real quick, and I'll see you in a minute. Bye. There it is. So the pencil mark is inside the line of this little cut right here. Ooh. This cut out here. All right, I'm going to lock this puppy in with this. That's on the money. All right, well, I have to trust my saw. I'm going to do this one here. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. A little snuggish. On the line, tighten that puppy up. Yeah, this thing's getting a little tweaky. Yeah, see, I can move it. That's what happens when you have something that's almost 70 pounds. That's a lot of tweaking on the sled, so you got to try to keep it as evenly pushing as possible. So yeah, just something you got to do. And it was very dusty. All right, I'm gonna lower the blade. Always lower your blade when you're tightening it up. Nothing worse than catching an elbow on a blade or scraping your hand. One last double triple check here. See how square this is. You know, the wall's not square. Yeah, this cuts on the money. Okay, now what I have to do is I have to make it fit the template. So, put them both together. I got a nice seam here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the template on here and lay out where the sink goes. That's tight. And that is on there. And just cut the ends off. Oh, for the love of Pete. All right, there we go. For the love of Pete, water will not touch my wood. Unless I'm bathing. Good golly. These cowls are stuck on there, but they come off just like this. Now here, and then I gotta here. That's annoying because I say here. And I say a lot too, also as well. And that's what we're gonna do next. Fling flang the bang bang. I don't know what that means. I just made it up and put a fart on the end of it. No.